There's a quiet code, or an unwritten aesthetic blueprint, that old money families follow with almost religious devotion. It's not loud, it's not flashy, and it's not the kind of thing you'll ever see posted on Instagram. Yet this code is so powerful that it shapes the identity, confidence, and presence of every generation that carries it. And here's the secret. Once you understand these rules, you'll start recognizing them everywhere. The way the wealthy dress, decorate, speak, choose objects, even the subtle way they carry themselves through the world. But before we dive into the rulebook, they never talk about, make sure you're subscribed, because we're going deeper into the psychology, lifestyles, and hidden world of generational wealth every single week. Now let's begin. The quiet power of an old money aesthetic. Old money doesn't see aesthetics as decoration. They see aesthetics as identity. To them, taste isn't about visual appeal. It's about signaling lineage, discipline, restraint, and a sense of rootedness that goes back generations. Their style is the opposite of performative. It serves one purpose: to speak without speaking. While new money loudly declares, "Look what I have," old money whispers, "This is who we are." This difference is everything. It's why an old money home looks different. Why do their clothing choices feel different? Why their social presence is so subtle yet so unmistakably powerful. And it all comes down to a series of aesthetic rules. Rules rarely discussed outside their circles, yet faithfully passed from parent to child. Let's break them open. Rule number 1. Understatement is the ultimate status symbol. To old money, the loudest person in the room is the weakest. The same applies to fashion, decor, and personal presentation. This is why you see neutral color palettes, fabrics that whisper quality instead of scream it, items that last decades instead of seasons. Their aesthetic philosophy is built on one belief: if it's truly good, it doesn't need to announce itself. A handbag with a giant logo? That's for the newly initiated. A perfectly structured leather bag with no branding? That's for someone who doesn't need to prove she belongs. Old money considers subtlety a form of intelligence, proof that you understand quality so deeply you no longer seek validation for it. This rule alone separates generational wealth from aspirational wealth. Rule number 2. Nothing new for the sake of new. Old money is deeply suspicious of trends. Trends feel temporary, unpredictable, and, worst of all, rootless. Why would someone whose family has thrived for 150 years chase something designed to go out of style in 6 months? Their aesthetic follows a different rhythm. Classic silhouettes, timeless architecture, heirloom quality materials, colors that age well, designs that could exist in 1925 or 2025. To them, the ephemeral is a waste. The enduring is an investment. This is why you'll walk into an old money home and feel like the room has existed forever, in the best possible way. Their choices aren't outdated, they're grounded. The space feels lived in, meaningful, layered with stories. The world may sprint toward whatever is trending on TikTok, but old money moves at the speed of permanence. Rule number 3. Avoid anything that tries too hard. If there is one phrase old money uses more than any other to critique someone's aesthetic, it's trying too hard. This is the ultimate sin in their world. To them, a sports car with neon accents is trying too hard. A home covered in marble, everything is trying too hard. An outfit overloaded with designer logos is trying too hard. Old money prefers an aesthetic that feels effortless, almost accidental. Even if the room was decorated by a top designer, it should feel as if it naturally evolved over time, not staged for likes or attention. The irony? Achieving effortlessness often requires the most effort. Patina, wear, warmth, balance, these things come from years of living, curating, refining. That's why their spaces feel authentic. Nothing is placed for effect. Everything belongs. Trying too hard signals insecurity. Effortlessness signals confidence. And confidence in the old money world is priceless. Rule number 4, materials matter more than designer names. You'll notice something fascinating about generationally wealthy families. They rarely talk about brands. They talk about materials. Not where did you get that, but what is it made of? Linen, cashmere, oak, walnut, silver, wool, silk, marble, porcelain. The material tells the story, not the label. Old money knows that a well-made cashmere sweater from a small boutique is far more luxurious than a mass-produced designer sweater with a logo slapped across it. This is the essence of their aesthetic discipline. Quality is invisible unless you understand it. Those who know, know. Rule number 5. The home must tell a story, not show off wealth. Old money interiors never feel like showrooms. They feel like biographies. When you step into a generational wealth home, you don't feel impressed. You feel informed. You sense history. You sense continuity. You sense that this family has lived, traveled, collected, inherited, and curated, slowly, intentionally, and without the need to prove anything to anyone. Their spaces are built on 3 aesthetic pillars. 1. Patina over perfection. A slightly faded rug is not a flaw, it's character. Worn leather is not replaced, it's loved. Books with weathered spines? Those are treasures. Old money values the evidence of life. It's proof of longevity. 2. Objects with provenance. Nothing is random. Nothing is filler. Nothing is bought because a decorator said it matches. Every object has meaning. A silver bowl inherited from a great-grandmother. A painting collected decades ago. A piece of antique furniture restored instead of replaced. A family crest quietly engraved on something functional. Even the smallest trinket has a story behind it, and that story is what gives the room its quiet authority. 3. The room evolves over time. Old money spaces feel layered because they are. They weren't designed in one shopping trip. They developed naturally through life events, weddings, inheritances, travels, and seasons of growth. This is why their aesthetic feels richer than anything money can simply buy. You can buy decor, you can't buy depth, and depth is the true luxury. Rule number 6. A strict palette of restraint. Old money is allergic to loud color schemes, but this doesn't mean their world is dull, quite the opposite. Their palette is based on harmony, not spectacle, built around tones that age gracefully and feel grounded. Cream, navy, taupe, olive, charcoal, oxblood, muted earth tones, soft pastels, deep walnut brown, forest green. These colors evoke permanence, not performance. The goal isn't to grab attention, it's to create an atmosphere, a feeling, a calmness, a sense of belonging. New money tends to chase what's bold. Old money stays faithful to what's balanced. They're not afraid of beauty, they're afraid of being loud. Rule number 7. Personal maintenance is part of aesthetic culture. Here's something that people often miss. The old money aesthetic isn't just about objects. It's about the people themselves. Certain habits are practically family rules because personal presentation is seen as a reflection of the entire lineage. No extreme hairstyles, nothing overly bleached, overly styled, overly trendy. Natural, simple, timeless. Jewelry is sentimental, not performative. Think signet rings, pearls, understated golds, items with meaning. Nails are short, groomed, and neutral. Not decorative, not flashy. Clean, functional, elegant. Makeup is subtle and classic. Enhancement, never transformation. Clothing fits, but never clings. Tailoring is essential. Revealing silhouettes is avoided. Quality fabrics create drape, not tightness. Old money believes that true refinement is quiet. If someone can immediately spot how expensive you're grooming it, you've gone too far. Rule number 8. Consistency is a form of power. One of the most underrated aesthetic principles of old money is this. They pick a style and stay loyal to it. You'll rarely see an old money home that has 5 different design trends fighting each other. You won't see a wardrobe filled with contrasting aesthetics, and you won't see sudden changes in their image from season to season. Consistency signals stability. Stability signals heritage. Heritage signals power. Even if their tastes evolve, they evolve gradually, never abruptly, never in a way that looks like imitation. The message is always, this is who we are. This is who we've always been. That continuity is a luxury of its own. Rule number 9. No new money flashpoints. In the old money world, there are specific aesthetic choices that immediately signal someone is trying too hard, or trying to appear wealthier than they are. These are the choices they avoid at all costs. Giant logos, ultra-modern, all-white everything. Design, marble overload. overly manicured landscaping, hyper-trendy sneakers, cars in neon or exotic wraps, excessive gold plating, massive chandeliers when overstyled entryways meant to impress guests. Old money has a simple test. If something begs for attention, they reject it. Their aesthetic is quiet because they've learned a timeless truth. People who truly have wealth don't need to advertise it. Rule number 10, functionality over flexing. The next rule is surprising but essential. Old money prioritizes function over flash. A beautiful coat means nothing if it doesn't keep you warm. A stunning handbag means nothing if it can't be used daily. A luxurious home means nothing if it's uncomfortable. Old money is practical, even frugal about aesthetics. They're willing to spend on craftsmanship, but never on gimmicks. Everything they choose must have purpose, longevity, and utility. Nothing is for show alone. This is why their wardrobes, homes, and even their accessories feel lived in, not curated for applause. Functionality creates longevity. Longevity creates heritage. Heritage creates the old money look. Rule number 11. The art of good objects only. Old money has a simple rule when it comes to possessions. Fewer things, better things. Their homes aren't cluttered because clutter signals chaos and chaos signals lack of discipline. Instead, they curate selectively, almost ceremonially. A room might contain only one exceptional lamp, a single statement chair, a quality rug, a piece of meaningful art, and nothing else. Old money sees each object as a character. If the character has no personality, no history, or no craftsmanship, it has no place in the home. This is why their rooms feel intentional and calm. There's no visual noise. New money buys to fill space. Old money buys because something deserves a place. Rule number 12. Heritage is an aesthetic language. Old money families often treat heirlooms as anchors for entire rooms, wardrobes, and even personal identities. These pieces aren't displayed in glass cases. They are used, integrated, loved. A few examples. A grandfather's watch worn daily, a century-old dining table still hosting family holidays, sterling silver flatware used on normal evenings, antique portraits mixed with modern decor. This blending, the past meeting the present, is a defining feature of the old money aesthetic. It tells visitors, we have history, we honor it, and we live with it. Old money doesn't chase the future or cling to the past. They place both in conversation. Rule number 13. Texture is the real luxury. This one is subtle but powerful. Old money cares more about how things feel than how they look. They prioritize the softness of worn leather, the weight of real crystal, the warmth of real wood, the crispness of linen, the density of hand-woven wool, the smoothness of polished silver. The organic imperfections of stone texture creates atmosphere. Texture communicates quality. Texture lasts. This is why old money homes feel warm even when they're grand. Why their clothing feels expensive even when it isn't branded. Why their environment feels grounded instead of ostentatious. Texture is luxury you can't fake. Rule number 14. Nothing should look brand new. This is one of the most surprising old money rules. In their world, something brand new is aesthetically incomplete. It needs age, character, patina, the slow erosion of time. New money tries to maintain perfect surfaces. Old money embraces wear because it means the object has lived. Scuffed leather furniture? Perfect. Wood with subtle marks from decades of use? Even better. A home or wardrobe that looks too pristine feels sterile, and worse, inexperienced. Old money loves things that show life because they themselves live life fully. Everything they own reflects that philosophy. Rule number 15. Silence is a form of aesthetic restraint. Finally, we reach one of the most important and least understood old money aesthetic rules. Not everything needs to be expressed. Old money avoids bold statements, loud prints, dramatic art meant to shock, controversial decor, attention-seeking centerpieces, anything that screams for validation. Aesthetic silence is its own language. This is why their homes feel peaceful, why their clothing feels composed, why their presence feels grounded, why their choices feel intentional, not performative. Silence in their world is taste. Taste is discipline. Discipline is a legacy, the aesthetic that can't be bought. Here's the real secret behind all these rules. Old money doesn't follow them to look wealthy. They follow them because the aesthetic is an extension of their identity. It's a culture, a mindset, a multi-generational consciousness. Their aesthetic isn't meant to impress strangers. It's meant to reflect the values they live by. Restraint, longevity, subtlety, respect for history, depth over display, meaning over novelty, grace over flash, and the deeper truth. Anyone can learn these rules. Anyone can adopt this discipline. This aesthetic isn't reserved for the wealthy. It's reserved for those who understand the difference between appearing rich and being anchored. That's why the old money aesthetic never dies, why it never goes out of style, why it keeps reappearing generation after generation.